All right, so I've got a problem. I just can't step foot on a tool truck without buying something. Call me an addict. I walked on the Matco tools truck the other day and I told myself, you're just looking, you don't need anything. And then 10 minutes later, I'm walking out with a handful of new tools. Now here's the crazy part. I already own thousands of dollars in tools. And after 35 years as a mechanic, you'd think I'd already have every tool I could possibly ever need. So why do I keep buying more? It's because the tool companies constantly come out with these great innovations, and manufacturers keep changing designs that require more tools. Some tools don't even seem like a big deal until you use it once, and then you realize your old tools are basically outdated, or is it just a better way? Let's check out some of the stuff I've got here. I've got laid out here a bunch of stuff that I've bought recently. And I want to kind of go through a few of these items and kind of show what they can do and show why I purchased them. So I'm going to start off here in the back corner. I've got some of these seal puller tools that I bought from Snap-on. Now this is actually a second set I bought. I tried to buy some of these inexpensive tools that you see on TikTok and things, and they just weren't strong enough. They didn't have enough meat here, right where the tip is, where it gets skinny, and didn't really like the whole layout there. These come with these little pins that you can put through the holes to help give you a little extra leverage too, which is kind of nice. So I haven't even had a chance to use some of these tools yet. These are brand new. So I'll probably give you some feedback here down the road and let you know what I think of these things. But Snap-on's usually known to make some quality tools, and I'm sure they're going to get the job done. Keeping with the theme of the seal pullers, I've got this Matco seal puller here. And I bought this tool here because it's adjustable on the head. Now what's cool about this, you can just kind of press this button and then you can get any angle you want on this thing, which is really convenient when you're doing cam seals or crank seals in the vehicle. You're sometimes limited with space. And I've been using for many, many years this old beat up seal puller here, and you can see they look similar. One's got a lot of miles on it and one doesn't, but this one doesn't always get you in the spot you need, but this is probably by far my favorite seal puller. You can see by the way it's worn out and some pieces are ground down, so I could actually get access on certain cars. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch to this one. I think I like the way this gives me that access with the rotating head, and in conjunction with a couple of these new Snap-on seal pullers, I think we're gonna be able to get the job done with a little more efficiency. So I like that layout here, that design on this. The next thing in my lineup here are gonna be these Vim magnetic spark plug sockets. Now, you're probably asking me, why do I need new spark plug sockets? We've had spark plug sockets for decades and I have a nice collection of them everywhere, but over time, those sockets with the rubber inserts, they start to deteriorate. You get oil on them because there's oil in the spark plug tubes and those things. So I wanted a complete set here, and upgrade my sockets a bit. So I saw this set from Vim, fully magnetic, which is really nice. And they come in all the popular sizes now in 6-point and 12-point. So working on your BMWs and things, you're gonna make sure that you have the correct sockets here for that. And all the sizes that you need. It's nice to have these long ones to go down in the spark plug tubes. Every car's got that kind of design now, it feels like. And you don't need extensions anymore with locking extensions and things. So I think this kind of makes the setup a little bit cleaner here. It kind of completes the set and allows me to have those magnetic inserts in them so that spark plugs actually stay in the sockets. And this is a pretty full setup here. I've got, let's see, on these tall ones, I got a 9/16, a 5/8, and a 14 millimeter. And then on these short ones across the bottom here, I've got, what does this say? A 16, a 14, a 9/16, a 5/8, and then a 13/16. Of course, this little 13/16 we just don't use very often, but it's nice to have in the kit. And then we've got here another one, a 14 millimeter in a 12-point. And then I've got here some flex sockets. Now the cool thing about these universal sockets or flex sockets is they are spring-loaded. So this is kind of nice because a lot of times you're going to put them in a car and the things are falling down. You can't get them in the area you want to get them without dragging a spark plug across an exhaust manifold or something. So I kind of like this. Still going to give you the angles you need when you need it, but otherwise it pretty much stays straight, which is pretty cool. Let's stick with the rest of these Vim products I've got here on the shelf. Next is going to be these universal sockets. These are e-torques or inverted torque sockets. Now these are great if you guys are working on European vehicles. You know, everything on there has got some kind of an inverted Torx bolt and it's buried underneath something, which is underneath something else, which is underneath something else, and you've got to take a lot of stuff apart. These are going to be nice because it's going to give you a lot of access, and you can see how shallow the head is on these. They are not, in the past, I guess I would say I used a universal socket with an inverted Torx socket on top of that. It just gives you a lot of length. These are super shallow and they're gonna give you a lot of access in hard to reach areas. So when I saw these on the truck, I figured I probably better get a set. They look like they're gonna come in handy for that 1 or 2 cars where you just don't wanna spend hours taking a bunch of stuff apart if you can access it with a tool like this. Let's take a quick break here. I just want to remind you guys to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share this video with anybody you think could use this information. If you're finding these tools cool, or if you got some tools that you think I should know about, go ahead and drop me some notes down in the comments below. You know I read all that stuff, and I appreciate your interaction with the channel here. It certainly helps us grow. Let's get back to the video. Next in the Vim lineup are these torque sockets. Now these are pretty cool because they're low profile. You can see how short they are, how shallow they are. They've got 1/4-inch drive on the inside, so you can stick them right on a ratchet, or you can use it with a wrench if you really need a low profile setup. So these are going to be good for hard to reach stuff as well. Probably going to go in line with these if you're working on a lot of these European cars. You're going to see some of that out there, and it's just nice to add to the collection, an enhancement over the original stuff. And you know, if I'm showing you some of the torque sockets that we use now, you can see how tall they are, and something like this is definitely going to give you a lot more access. You know, in years past, we'd drive the roll pin out and we'd use just the bits on it with a wrench. We don't have to do that anymore. It's kind of built into these. So I really like these. This is a good idea. Next in my lineup, I bought these from Matco Tool, but I believe these are also a Vim product. You can see they say Matco right on the side here. And these are designed to remove fuel lines and electrical connectors. So they've got these little grippers on them. It's a nice tiny little handle on it so that you can get in wherever you want to go. They are flexible. They move in all these different areas, and then they've got a couple of grippers on the outside, some knurled or lines or something on the end to give you a little bit of grip. So when you've got some of these fuel lines, evap lines, and things that have two buttons, one on either side, but they're encased in a housing, it's hard to grab those things. So this has these little teeth that stick out and allows you to depress both buttons at the same time and be able to get these connectors off without destroying them. In the past, I've used needle nose pliers that have they're basically the hose hook type tools, so they've got a circular setup on the end of it, and these are going to eliminate the need for that. So I've got one there, and I got one here, just a little bit different look to it. So you can see they're a little bit different, but both will serve the purpose for fuel lines, evap lines, and electrical connectors. So continuing on with my electrical theme here, I want to talk about these wire strippers and crimpers. Now I saw this is a cool idea. I was actually putting a ceiling fan up at my house the other day, and I was using these old pliers here. You can see I got these actually from Sears decades ago, and they're so beat up and worn out. They don't even strip right anymore. I've got solder stuck to the end of them. I mean, they're just kind of beat up. I got frustrated with these, using these at home, and I said, let me just see if I can find another set for the house here. And I found these cool Matco pliers, and what's nice about these things is they have a reversible head on it. So right now we're set up for crimp in the jaws over here. So if you're using solderless connectors and you're crimping them, this is a great setup for that. But then we can easily just flip this over, and now we've got a stripper on the other end. So, you know, if you guys are stripping wires in a car, or even at home when I was doing the fan, you're trying to get up close there and you're on a ladder, it's hard to use the stripper that's on the inside of the handle on these. They don't give you a lot of room here because you're battling the head of the tool here. So what I like about this is that you're always at the tip of it. Whether you're crimping or stripping, all you have to do is flip it around, and you're still working with the tip of the pliers. You're not trying to get in here in this area, and this is kind of the annoying part of trying to use those pliers, especially if you're in a limited space or tight area. So I thought this was a cool idea. I don't know how well it's going to work. I'm going to go ahead and try them out a little bit, maybe give you guys some feedback, but I love the idea, the design, and we're going to give them a try and see how they function. By Matco Tools. Here's another lifesaver. If you look at these pliers, these things are designed to take off the spring style hose clamps. You know, you're working on Fords and Chevys and those types of things, even some of the Nissans and Toyotas. Everything seems to have some kind of a spring clamp from the factory now. These are designed with some nice, really grippy jaws on them, and they're super long. So, you know, when you're trying to get up in there in between a radiator shroud and a fan and things, these things are going to give you that extra reach you need to be able to compress those springs without having to stick your whole arm up in there, and you're not trying to open these pliers up super wide here where you can't get your hand on it. You can see these are about as wide as they go right there, and then you can go ahead and squeeze it and grip it. They lock. They have a little ratcheting mechanism on here. So these are made by Lyle Tools. Matco's got their own brand that looks just like this if you like to buy their tools, but same plier, I believe. They look pretty similar, and I believe these are going to be a lifesaver. I've been using the old cable style system for a long time, and a lot of times after use the cable stretches on it, so this should alleviate some of that trouble and also give me a different style of access over the cable tool. Sometimes it's hard to hold the end of the cable tool on the spring clamp while you're ratcheting with the other hand. This is going to allow for more of a one-handed operation, so should be a nice addition to the tool collection here. All right, so last on my list here, I bought these really long hose hook tools. Now I've already got a set of these. I've got a few sets of these. I've got some snap-on ones. They're not quite this long. They're maybe about up to here. So these give you a little bit of extra reach, kind of along the theme of these pliers over here we talked about. If you're trying to get your hoses off, this is going to be great for that access where your hands can't fit in there. You can't reach something. This is going to allow you to get up in those tight spaces. One is curved and one is slightly bent. And then this is the way the new style are coming from here from Cornwell, with this kind of flat blade on it. No more of the hook style on there. So the jury's still out on that one. I like them and I don't like them. A lot of times I like to take the pointy part of my snap-on ones and run it around the perimeter or the circumference of the hose to try to break it free. And you can't quite do that with these as easily because they're kind of fat right here. So they do work great. You know, I've been using the shorter version of them, and there's no problem with them. I just find when I need that little extra technique, puts a little extra stress on the hose, and I usually just use a little extra WD-40 to help lube that up if I'm going to use one of these tools. So these are great for access, and you know, honestly, I think I bought these on sale and probably spent about 30 bucks on them, so definitely worth adding to my collection. All right, well, there's my quick peek here at some of the new tools I bought recently. I hope you guys find some of this useful. You might find some of these tools are good for your collection as well. Certainly, these tools here are not something that's absolutely necessary. If you've seen my essential tools video, none of these would make that list. But this is good for maybe, you know, somebody that's more seasoned in the business or doing more complicated work, and you just want to grow your collection. Now, I said at the beginning of this video that I'm a tool addict. Nothing's going to change there. So as these tools come out, I'll probably continue to buy stuff. I like having new things. I love the innovative technology, not only what's going into the cars, but also what's going into the tools as we repair them. So if you're enjoying this content, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave us some comments down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.